Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what lenses that I take with me specifically when I'm shooting wildlife photography. Before we get into this video, let's roll that beautiful B-roll. Alright everyone, thanks for stopping by the channel. My name is Christopher and I'm here to do a video specifically talking about the lenses that I take with me when I'm going on some kind of an adventure, hiking, maybe backpacking, kayaking, something like that. Even in my backyard where I have some owls and horses and just really cool creatures that I'm in a fairly dense area, but we've got some cool wildlife that we can even see just behind me. So the first thing I want to talk about is the camera body. So this is a Canon R6 Mark II. I picked this up last year. This is the camera body that I kind of take by default. Now I do have the R5, I have the R5C, but the R6 is kind of my go-to. And the reason that I take it is it doesn't have necessarily the most pixels and the largest image. That is for the R5 and the R5C that take that 45 megapixel picture. But what it lacks for in that, and even some deficiencies in the autofocus that the R5 has that it does not. It does have a great autofocus and it's fast. You can get really great shots. They're really crisp, and I find on most of my trips when I'm looking through my photos, this is the camera that I'm taking. The other thing is if I am shooting video, which I do occasionally, this can really go the distance. Normally I add a battery pack to it and I'm good all day, if not for multi-day. I took a trip recently to Baytown, Texas, where there's this amazing wildlife preserve and trail where there's deer, even coyotes, and this is the camera I brought, and I was able to shoot for multiple days, sort of, you know, hour, 2-hour shoots, and I didn't have to charge my batteries for a couple days. So great camera. Let's talk about the lenses. So we'll start with the biggest to the smallest that's in my kit. So first up here is the Canon 800 millimeter. Now I'm gonna read from Canon's website here real quick. This is going to be an f11 lens, so this is really high. Right, you take that versus some of these prime lenses that are like f1.2. This is on the high end of the spectrum. Part of why this lens is only $1,000, and I'm saying that carefully here. You may think $1,000 is a lot of money. Trust me, go to Canon's website, you will see that to get higher end L series lenses, you're talking about $12, $14, $18, $20,000 to start getting to that range. And so what you're giving up here is some of the mechanics that make those cheaper and weather sealed. So this is the first one. And this is a really good lens. I will say that you need to shoot it with a tripod, or shoot with it on a tripod. It actually does have, I've got a little Peak Design plate on it. If you don't, it does have in-body stabilization, but you'll notice a lot of blur, almost like something's been painted. Went on a trip to Arkansas, first time to shoot with this, and it was almost, when I looked at the image, which was, I was just doing handheld, it was almost painted. They were pretty far away and they were moving. I shot a owl recently, and I'll put that here now, and it's pretty tack sharp. There is a little bit of blurring. You'll see if like you really pixel peep, but honestly for $1,000 lens, it's really great. So the other caveat is when you're pointing with 800 millimeters, I mean you're any slight movement, you're moving your frame very quickly. So one of the things I'll mention about it, in case you ever get one of these, is you can actually take this and you have to extend it. So that's actually part of the function. It's very confusing the first time I put it on my camera. I attached it and I couldn't see anything. You literally have to extend it so that way it does its thing. So anyway, for $1,000, really impressive lens given the cost. But again, you're sacrificing your f-stops when you don't buy a $10, $12, $20,000 lens of an equal capacity. Next up is my 100 to 500 millimeter lens. Now, Canon's been releasing several different iterations of varying prices. So let me talk about this one real quick. So this one's going to be between an f4.5 to f7.1. Not that bad, again, for a $3,000 lens. And so this one's a little bit higher because it is an L series lens. I take that back. It's $25.99 right now on Canon's website. So for a $2,500 lens, this is fantastic. This is my go-to when I'm shooting wildlife. I don't really take I don't really go in with any other lens attached. I will bring this out typically if I can do it on a tripod. So if there's chances to stand and or sit and shoot, that's what I'm using. This is what I'm going with. Again, in-body stabilization. It's got a little ring that allows you to sort of determine how quickly it extends. There's no locking mechanism, but you do have all the buttons that you would expect on an L-series lens. It is weatherproofed, so dust and moisture-ish, right? It's not meant to get wet, but it will deal with that well. Last lens, the 70-200. Now this is the 70-200, and this is specifically the f2.8. There is an f4 version. I don't actually have it with me. I've loaned it out to a friend for them who is a budding photographer, and I wanted to give them a little bit better range. But this is my bottom, I say bottom of the barrel. This is where I start. 70-200 is sort of the minimum that I'm taking with. It's one of my favorite lenses. Compared to the EF, it's almost a third or it's 2/3 of the EF version, which is really long, but it's incredibly heavy compared to other lenses. It's kind of tall. So the f4 version, if you're in mostly well-lit environments, I would honestly say take that versus this, but you do get that lower f-stop, which means it's better in low light situations. So less noise, less ISO being applied. You can use faster shutter speed, which I normally shoot minimum at least 250. That's my shutter speed, if not up to 800, 1000 or higher, depending on what kind of photography you're doing, especially with animals that are quick moving. You're going to want to make sure you've got the lowest f-stop possible, and that's why those more expensive lenses exist. You're paying for better f-stop. I'm sure there's more to them, but at the end of the day, simply put, you can go and go faster, right, and not need to apply as much ISO to compensate for that faster shutter speed. So those are my three lenses that I would take. The 800mm, this is what's in my kit. I've got the 100-500mm, this is what I can afford, and then of course the 70-200 f2.8, but again I would go with the f4 as it's a really great lens, and if you're in mostly well-lit situations. Now here's the bonus round. I always take with me the Nifty 50. This is actually one of my favorite lenses. I have the regular Soupcan 50mm that I think is f1.2. I think this comes at f1.4 for the size, quality of image. This is really great. This always goes with me no matter what I'm taking. So Nifty 50 for the win. So anyway, those are the camera lenses that I take with me when I'm doing wildlife photography. Honestly, the 70-200 and the 100-500mm are my prime lenses. So when I'm going on trips, for example, like the summer to Banff, those are the two lenses that have to be in my kit for me to feel like I'm going to be successful. The 50mm will sit in there as well, and I'm going to make another video. So if you want to see that video, do me a favor. Click that like button on this video if you enjoy this content, crush the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date, because in that very next video we're going to be talking about the three lenses I take with me sort of generically that's in my bag for just about any occasion. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.